Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. You could have a slick drive to work or school in the morning. The first of 2 rounds of snow is expected to be falling by then. We've declared a severe weather alert day, and Chief Meteorologist Paige Noel has more on what to expect. Paige?
Steve, like you said, we're expecting 2 rounds of snow to move in tomorrow. That first round going to move in very late tonight into tomorrow. Right now, well, we're just seeing those very cold temperatures, upper 20s to lower 30s. So any of those roads that had issues today and maybe didn't see a lot of sunshine could refreeze tonight and into tomorrow. So black ice and snow are going to be an issue once again tomorrow morning. We've seen some flurries along I-64 in Moorhead a little bit ago. Now you see that snow all the way up to the north in parts of Cincinnati and even just north of Lexington. It'll move into our area a little bit later tonight. For now, we're seeing those clear skies, so definitely on the chilly side. And we do have a winter weather advisory that goes in effect in the early morning hours tomorrow and lasts until Saturday morning. That's for Bell, Harlan, Letcher County in Kentucky, and then also Wise County over into Virginia, and that runs through your Saturday morning. So 2 rounds of snow. Roads could refreeze tonight is another issue, but those snow showers move in Friday morning. More snow is expected Friday night with that second round, with some snow continuing even a little bit into your Saturday morning. We'll break down the timing and talk about how much snow to expect in just a little bit.
All right, thank you, Paige. Crews in Bell County spent their day preparing for the possibility of more snow and ice. For them, it's all about being prepared. Black ice was a big problem this morning, and that could still be an issue tonight with the cold temperatures. The biggest concern is keeping an eye on the roads to keep everyone safe.
Last night was the first incident. It was, it was pretty. It was very spotty, but it was, it's hard to tell where it's at.
To track that snow on its way tomorrow, you can download our WYMT weather app. And we already have a few closings and delays for tomorrow. I expect that list to grow. You can find a full list of those closings on our website, WYMT.com. Now, some of those closings are due to sickness. Flu numbers are still high, but it's not the flu on the minds of many across the country. Wall Street took its biggest hit since 2011 today, all due to worries over a possible coronavirus pandemic. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped nearly 1,200 points, one of the biggest point drops in history. The correction comes as the Trump administration tries to ease concerns over the spread of the virus.
The risk to the American public is low.
Fortunately, we made the early moves and we closed our borders, but it's working out very professionally. We're doing a tremendous job.
Congress is working on a bill to fund the federal emergency response to the coronavirus. In a letter, California Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein urged Vice President Mike Pence to ensure rapid testing of all suspected cases. Meanwhile, Governor Andy Beshear says the Commonwealth is prepared for whatever the coronavirus may bring. This comes as state officials did identify 100 people who had traveled overseas recently, all of them, including one who did have some questionable symptoms, tested negative. Some public health officials here in Eastern Kentucky were in Frankfort yesterday to hear about the state's plan of action. Local health officials and a concerned business owner in Perry County got more clarification on what exactly the coronavirus is, or this strain of it. It is a respiratory illness and has symptoms like the flu or common cold, just more severe. Scott Lockard, public health director in Perry County, says the relationship they have with other health organizations has led them to be prepared.
We're working with our partners in the healthcare industry at our hospitals and our clinics, and we're seeing what is the situation, and we're trying to get the accurate information out there.
And it is important to remember there are no confirmed cases of the Wuhan coronavirus here in Kentucky. Now let's go to East Tennessee, where Angela Boswell, the grandmother of missing 15-month-old Evelyn Boswell, appeared before a judge today. Police say they found her in a stolen car that could be linked to the toddler's disappearance. As of now, there's still no sign of Evelyn. And Tennessee may soon be following in Kentucky's footsteps. Governor Bill Lee announced a constitutional carry bill today. The proposed law would remove handgun carry permits for people 21 years and older in Tennessee, except for in certain restricted areas. Lee mentioned that the legislation would increase penalties on those who steal or unlawfully possess a firearm. Back in Frankfort, lawmakers have approved upgrades to a bill designed to provide more treatment options to the mentally ill, who advocates say often end up in jails. The legislature passed Tim's Law in 2017. It is named for a Lexington man who died in 2014 and was arrested numerous times because of his mental condition. The bill's purpose was to require assisted outpatient treatment and provide the legal means for families to force loved ones into treatment. The revision that passed the Senate and was approved in a House committee today says a person has to be involuntarily hospitalized twice in the past 2 years instead of twice in the past year.
We're going to monitor you, and we're going to make sure that you stay on your medications and that you show up for treatment.
The original Tim's Law was vetoed by former Governor Matt Bevin, but the legislature overrode the veto. This year's bill now goes to the full House. Concerns over a huge flock of birds continues in Manchester. We first told you about this yesterday, and you may remember the Clay County Ambulance Service was asked to blare sirens to try and scare away the birds. New at 11, WYMT's Dakota Makris was there tonight and spoke to a woman who works nearby for her reaction to those sirens.
Like a scene from an Alfred Hitchcock movie, these birds cause issues for those who live and work around Courthouse Hill in Manchester.
We get to work right around 7:15, and that's about what time they decide to leave the trees.
Mary Hibbard works in the area.
It's amazing.
For her, it's like watching a movie.
There's so much chirping, and then you watch them do a lot of flying around the trees and joining in their groups.
Local groups worry that all of these birds and what they leave behind may cause health problems. So they asked the Clay County Ambulance Service to run their sirens to scare away the birds. And during our interview,
maybe they're circling the block.
the ambulance service was doing its job. So what was your reaction to hearing the ambulance? Do you think that's going to help?
I noticed they got a little jittery in the trees that's closer to us.
Even though the birds were jittery, we did not see a whole lot of movement.
If you raise a garden, you know that there's very little things, scarecrows and other things that you can do that's just not going to scare them off.
The birds may be here to stay until warmer weather arrives. In Corbin, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
We have some breaking news coming in now out of Pike County. The president of the Pike County Firefighters Association says a volunteer firefighter is in the burn unit tonight. Corey Stevenson, who we are told was a firefighter with the Kemper Fire Department, was taken to Cabell Huntington Hospital with burns to his hands and face. He was battling a structure fire when he was burned in what's known as a flashover. We do not know his current condition or much more about the fire itself, but we are told the firefighter was talking at the scene. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story and hope for the best for that firefighter that was burned tonight. Perry County is getting a new economic development director. Zach Lawrence will begin his new role on March 2nd. Lawrence is from Harlan County and most recently served as a project manager at the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development. This is the result of a partnership between the Hazard-Perry County Economic Development Alliance and One East Kentucky. The Appalachian Pregnancy Care Center hosted its 7th annual Banquet for Life tonight. The luau-themed event was all about celebrating family and the community. The event, according to Executive Director Kay Hammond, was the largest event the center has hosted. She says that's because of the people who support the center and its growth.
When we first started the pregnancy center, we had no idea that we would be serving this many people. But God's got his hand on the pregnancy center. He has blessed us, and we're just loving every minute of it.
The event raises money with a silent auction and a live auction. Belfry High School's choir performed, and students from across the region volunteered at the event. One student at Letcher County Central High School is getting attention around the world for his selfless act. His teacher, Winston Lee, is the head coach for the basketball team, but it's not what happened on the court, but by his 11th grade student, Brandon Caudill, in their history class. Brandon had earned 5 bonus points, but instead of using them on his own test, He asked if they could be used for another student, the student with the lowest grade.
Totally random and totally selfless, just that he was willing to give away something that he had earned and voluntarily giving those away to somebody that may need them.
Lee posted Brandon's message to Facebook. It's hit nearly 100,000 likes and more than 60,000 shares. He said most of the feedback is positive. 5-year-olds on their birthday usually ask and wish for toys, but for Jude in Breathitt County, her wish was a little different. She asked everyone to bring animal products. She collected nearly 100 pounds of food, 40 pounds of treats, and a basket full of toys. Helena Harold owns Gorgeous Grooms and also got to participate.
And they called us, asked us if they could drop it off here, and I said of course, because we like to do a drop off for the shelter and the blessing box if people can't make it themselves.
If you are interested in donating animal items, you can also drop them off at Gorgeous Grooms by Helena. The voice of the Hazard Bulldogs was honored for his 50 years of dedication to the community last Friday night. Roy Pulliam and his wife Phyllis have lived in Hazard for more than 50 years. They moved here when Roy got a job at a local bank. His 2 sons played for Hazard, and he now has 3 grandkids and 4 great-grandkids. Friday, he was presented a banner at the Hazard-Estill County game. The banner will hang among the rafters at the gym. But Roy says he's never worked for any attention.
I work behind the scene all the time. I just like to do it that way. I don't want to be recognized too much. You probably got that today, but I don't do that, do I, Phil? I don't just want to be recognized. That's it, for that reason. I just love being here in Hazard, Kentucky. I love it, love it, love it. I really do.
Roy lives near Memorial Gym, the historic gym where he's been the PA announcer for the Bulldogs since 1970. Be sure to watch the full feature on Roy from our Connor James at WYMT.com. It's definitely worth it. Coming up at 11, police are still trying to determine why a gunman opened fire at one of the nation's largest, most iconic breweries. Hear the latest on the alleged shooter and how the community is coping.
And snow showers return tomorrow, but how much are we expecting? I'll have an answer next.